Hi everyone, my name is Omar Farvagi. I'm the Product Development Manager at SunSniffer, and I'll be showing you how to create a plant on the portal. Now, after the hardware is already installed in the field successfully, the next step would be to create the required documentation. So, the first document that is required is called hardware plan. So, let's have a look at it and see what is required there. Now, hardware plan, first of all, describes the communication ports used of the gateway. So in this case, we can connect either string readers or inverters. So let's look at the requirements here. First of all, we have to specify the string reader that is used, the string reader ID, and to which inverter serial number is it connected, and then to which input port of the inverter it is connected. So let's assume this inverter is the inverter number 1, and then this would be string 1 underscore 1. And then we can define the MPP tracker that this string reader is connected to, and we can divide that according to different MPP trackers that are available in that inverter. Next would be to write in the gateway ID and the communication port that is used. So if we use RS4851, then we type here number 1, and then we just define if the device is a string reader or an inverter. And this would be it for hardware plan. We fill in according to how many, of course, string readers or inverters connected to the gateway we have. Next file would be the string reader module mapping, and this file defines how or which modules are connected to which string reader in the same DC line, of course. So also this can scale, so basically it does not matter how many string readers you have, you can add them all in separate columns. And as you can see here, for example, string reader ID 8409 has the following list of modules in it. The last file to create would be the plant view file, and as you see here, this is basically a representation of how the site will look like, and we localize the modules according to their position in the field. This is usually done through a scanner, but of course you can also do it in a manual way by writing down the serial numbers in the correct cells. So after preparing the documentation, the next step would be to go to the portal to Plant Creation Wizard in order to create the file. First of all, we have to specify, of course, the name and the address of the site. The next step would be to go to the general settings section and fill in the required fields. Now this here we have to fill in the financial information such as feed-in tariff, target yield, and when the tariff starts and ends according to the power purchase agreement, the size of the plant, etc. Next would be to fill in latitude, longitude, altitude, and orientation of the module. So the tilt, module azimuth and tilt, and the module orientation if it's vertical or horizontal. Now these values are important so that our weather API can function correctly and give the correct forecast and for analytic purposes. And last step would be here to fill in the module manufacturer and the monitoring level and the monitoring hardware used. So for example, if the sensor is already embedded in the junction box, then we use a junction box integrated sensor or a retrofit sensor, depends on the installation. Now for subplants, this is for sites where the plant is divided across different roofs, for example, or different tilt and azimuth angles. Then we can activate the subplant support, and this can give us the freedom to design the plant however we like. The next step would be to add the percentages of energy that we expect per month. So here this can be, of course, done through any simulation software, and this can indicate to the software what energy do we expect almost each month. For example, in Europe, we always expect that the summertime in June, July, August would be the highest yield, so naturally we expect a higher percentage there, and this can be taken, as I said before, from the directly from a simulation software. As soon as we're done here, we can go to the next step, which is creating the inverters. So this should be really simple, and we just type in the serial number of the inverter, and we select the manufacturer. If the manufacturer is not in the list, we can select an unknown inverter and the number of MPP trackers in that inverter. After we list all inverters, we can go ahead directly to the next step, which is adding the gateways. And here we are required to add the serial number and the ID of the gateway, and as well as the hardware revision. We can of course list then all different gateways used in the field. Now after all of this is done, we can create plant and continue to the final step, and this is uploading the files that we just saw before, the Excel sheets, according to the right order. So we start with hardware plan, and we select our file and upload it. And as you see here, 3 lines were parsed. The 3 lines here are of course the 2 string readers and 1 inverter. Then we go to the upload string module mapping, and we similarly select our file and we upload the file, and we see that the 2 string readers with the 34 sensors in them were successfully sent. And our last step is to upload the plant view file, and as you see here, everything was successfully done, and we can see the ticks, the green ticks mean that files were uploaded successfully. So this brings us to the end of the plant creation wizard, and to this point we have successfully created the plant. So we can click on finish, and we are redirected then to hardware settings, in which we can check and make sure that everything was performed correctly. For example, now if we go to monitoring and analysis and to plant view, we can see here the modules, and when data starts coming in, these will turn green.